And the award for greatest podcast of 2017 so far goes to the Entertainment Buffet podcast. Oh, guys, thank you so much. I would like to thank my wife for supporting me. I'd like to thank all my... Oh, am I getting the music already? I guess I thank all my guests and yeah. All right, guys, we are here to talk about awards season, Golden Globes, Oscars, DGA, PGA, WGA, all the GAs and whatnot, as I sit down with my co-host Josh Sibley to talk about the awards season. Cue the music. Welcome, everyone, to the Entertainment Buffet podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Prosek, and as I said, I'm sitting down with one of my co-hosts, Josh Sibley, everyone.
Hello, I'd like to thank myself for that great music, and thank you for having me again.
Yeah, that playoff music was almost spot on. I believe that's what they do at the Oscars. They just have someone go into a microphone.
That is what they do, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think they have Mike Winslow back there from Police Academy.
Yeah, they do.
He's just on call for every award show to do the playoff music. But anyway, thanks for coming on again, Josh. And as I said, listeners, we are talking about awards season. And it is quite fitting because we are coming up on our 1-year anniversary for the Entertainment Buffet podcast, where in the very first episode, me and Kelly talked about the Oscars, Oscar snubs, and the Oscar controversy last year. If everyone remembers the Oscars So White big debate, that was a hot topic in Hollywood and such. But today we're going to talk about not just the Oscars, but lots of award shows in the movie filmmaking industry, and kind of me and Josh's opinions on that and whatnot. So before we
our opinions matter.
Oh, yeah, they are vital.
They are huge. Hollywood, if you're listening, we're here to tell you how to fix it.
Before we get started on that debate on the awards, please rate, review, subscribe on iTunes. And if you leave a review, we'll be sure to read it out on the podcast and give you a shout out. We also have... other ways you can find us. If you are an Apple hater, you can find us on Podbean, Stitcher, Google Play, Blueberry, all those type of methods of listening. On this same feed, we also have the Film Tweakers podcast, which Josh has been a guest on. He helped me film tweak Suicide Squad, and we're planning in the next few weeks, month or so, to film tweak all the Star Wars prequels, which will be interesting indeed. We also have some friend podcasts to check out. Movie Trailer Trash, hosted by Charlie and Bethany Duber, as well as the Brothers Marvel, hosted by Charlie and his brother Vinny Duber. Both awesome podcasts that you guys should check out. You can also check out Entertainment Buffet on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or entertainmentbuffet.com. We have new sketches and web shows coming soon, guys. We had a couple Christmas sketches that just came out last month for the holidays. One was directed by Josh here, called Christmas Present. So if you haven't seen... Oh, yes,
I forgot about that.
You forgot about that. That's always good, is when the director forgets.
Yes, always good. I've moved on to other things.
It's always good when the director and co-writer forgets the project. But nevertheless, check that out. We also have tons of new stuff coming, guys. Also, our new web show we're making with Jerry Gonzalez called Awkbot, about an awkward butler robot. Should be fun. And lastly, if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at TheProze, Proze. And Josh, where can they follow you on Twitter?
They can follow me at JScottSibley, and you can also find my work at jscottsibley.com.
Sounds great. Now, before we get on to the award season topic, let's get the LOL of the week. Would you like to start, Josh?
Sure, I can start. My LOL of the week is on myself. I skipped Fry's class for his drama one time.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't feel like going, and it was not my group's turn.
Yeah.
It was the other group, and I didn't want to go. And so it was in the morning, so I didn't want to go, and so I decided to skip class, and I was like, getting a new roommate, so we were like going to go buy some stuff. So we were like, the idea was we were going to go shopping during class, so I went off to go get a Apple TV, and I came home with a cat.
Well, that's
so if I hadn't skipped class that day. So kids, if you're listening, don't skip class, or you'll end up owning cats.
So, my LOL of the week is just a simple meme. I've been seeing a lot of really good Star Wars memes lately, and it's from Anakin in Star Wars The Phantom Menace, played by Jake Lloyd, where he says, "You cannot kill a Jedi." And then the next panel is him in Revenge of the Sith, where he takes the lightsaber out to the younglings, and it's like, kills all the Jedi. Like,
have you seen the one they do with where it's the actual scene with the video and everything?
No, I haven't.
And he's sitting there, and it's like, I heard that you can't kill it. I thought, you can't kill a Jedi or whatever, and Obi-Wan or Qui-Gon's like, no, you can't. He's like, or whatever, and then it just cuts to black and does the Always Sunny thing where it says, Anakin kills all the Jedi.
Yeah, I don't know why it was so simple, just two little frames from the series. You can't kill a Jedi. Proceeds to kill all the Jedi. Oh God, yep. I wonder if that was when George was writing Phantom Menace. He knew that would be in mind. But
we'll come back to all that.
Stay tuned for Josh and I film tweaking the entire prequel trilogy. But let's not waste any more time, and let's talk about all the award season. So, Josh,
yay, award season!
Yeah, we within the last week or so that we're recording this, we had the Golden Globes. We had, I believe it's the PGA and the DGA nominations come out.
Correct. WGA as well.
Right. And so, like, a lot of the kind of lesser known to the general audience's awards, but to us people who are hopeful filmmakers, kind of take notice because that's of more nominations from your peers and less from, the Academy or the Hollywood Foreign Press or anything like that. But as far as the Golden Globes, did you check that out at all, Josh?
I watched a little bit of it. We watched. I was visiting my dad, and we watched the beginning. And he doesn't really like the Hollywood types, so we watched part of it, and then we ended up watching Hell or High Water instead, which was probably a better choice. Nice. I've always felt with the Globes are kind of a joke. Like I'll have them on in the background, but I stopped watching them a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, I enjoy it because it's one of the only award shows where you get both movies and TV on the same show. And I also kind of like how they do things a little bit differently, like, and we can get into the whole, they have best drama and best comedy or musical. So we had things like Deadpool being nominated for best musical or comedy, and Ryan Reynolds being nominated for best actor in a musical or a comedy for Deadpool. Like,
yeah. I mean, they do a lot of that so they can get certain celebrities to show up to these events. It's like The Tourist back in 2010.
Yeah.
They do this to get these people to show up to these things.
Well, that also had big controversy because there apparently the producers or the studio behind The Tourist, wasn't it like they paid for like a vacation for people in the Hollywood Foreign Press or something like that? Like, they totally just like bought their way into getting nominated for best comedy or musical, and also getting Johnny Depp and like Angelina Jolie nominations. Like, it was so, like, everyone was like, wait, what? That movie was awful.
Yeah. You know what my favorite Golden Globe ceremony was?
One of the ones with Ricky Gervais?
No, the one that Billy Bush hosted. It's funny now. But back in, like, I think it was 2008, early 2009. I think it was the 07 into 08 ones.
Okay.
Yeah. when the writer's strike happened. Do you remember the ceremony?
I don't.
It was half an hour long. It was Billy Bush standing there staring at the camera going, here's the nominees for this category. This thing won. Here's the nominees for this category. This thing won.
That's hilarious. I don't remember because I think it was like the year after is when I started actually kind of watching those.
Oh yeah, no, they were boycotting that one.
Oh God, I can't imagine. That's yeah. So like, I agree that Golden Globes are kind of a joke, but it's kind of like, I wish. Do you think they can ever build their reputation back? I mean, do you think they can dig themselves out of the controversy with the tourist?
No one cares.
I mean, they have been going since this is like what, like almost the 70 years almost or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, they're a joke amongst the celebrities. They're a joke amongst everyone who's there. They're a joke amongst people who watch them. Most people watch them just for like the fashion or the celebrities that are there or whatever. And I mean, you don't have any of the technical awards at the Golden Globes, do you? I mean, I think there's writing, but you don't have anything that's really behind the scenes besides writing and directing.
Yeah, I think they kind of because well, they're also have nominations for all the acting for television as well as film, so it takes up a lot of time where you have to do actor, supporting actor, actress, supporting actress. Yeah,
and there's this weird because it with the television because it falls smack dab in the beginning of January.
Yeah,
and it's in the middle of the seasons, so it's very confusing as to what, because like Westworld got nominated, but Westworld, I don't know, it gets all confusing because like the Emmys won't air till next like September, and then Westworld will most likely be in that nomination as well.
Yeah, that's what was always confusing. I remember because like a show like Curb Your Enthusiasm, that was the last the show was actually coming back for a season 9, but I remember the season 8. I think it went from like late 2011 to 2012, but because of like the way it fell, like it felt like a year or two after it was over, it was getting nominated. I'm like, wait, that hasn't been on for a while.
Breaking Bad was the same way. Because Breaking Bad ended like into September 2013, and then I think the when it won Best Drama was like 2014, like August or September.
Yeah, so Golden Globes, they kind of need to they need to change something in order to kind of dig themselves out of the hole. And I think the last thing I'll kind of want to discuss with you about that is the whole Best Drama versus Best Comedy or Musical. I mean, I sort of like that because it means more films get nominations or at least recognition. But then you have like the controversy last year where The Martian won Best Comedy. It's like, that's not a comedy. It's a drama that is funny.
Because it's all playing the field. You can put in your movie into whatever category you want.
Well, now you can't.
Right? Oh, you can't anymore?
Well, that was the big thing. Was like they're like, no, we want actual comedies or musicals in this category. So like a film like Martian, because that was a big hotly like a big debate was the whole Martian, and then I think it was whether it was the Emmys or the Golden Globes as well. Like when Orange Is the New Black was nominated for Best Comedy Television Series. It's like, that's not a comedy either. That's
Transparent. Transparent does it too.
But
they're always under comedy, but they're a drama.
Is it? I haven't seen Transparent to make the distinction. But
I haven't either. It's like on that list of like things to watch.
Yeah.
But like I heard it's great, and I heard Jeffrey Tambor is great in it too.
Yeah, I've only heard good things.
It's been nominated for comedy, but I'm pretty sure it's a drama.
Yeah.
Or it kind of blurs the line.
Yeah, so I mean maybe it's because I predominantly enjoy seeing comedies getting recognition when they deserve it, and like that's something that we can talk about when we talk about the Oscars. Is like they tend to hardly ever give recognition to comedy. It seems kind of below, their standards, and I guess that's a chance for the Golden Globes. Is like a movie like Deadpool, which I genuinely believe Deadpool was one of the funniest movies of the year. Now, I have no idea why The Nice Guys wasn't nominated for Best Comedy or Musical, but, you know.
Yeah, I really like The Nice Guys, but it kind of didn't do super well. And Deadpool, the whole Deadpool thing is like, and I wouldn't be surprised if it actually got a nomination, is because it's a huge pat on the back to everyone.
Yeah.
And they're trying to make it seem like, oh, we didn't doubt you ever.
Which, I mean, then there's the big thing. It's like, why are musicals and comedies clumped together?
Because the Golden Globes are a joke.
Yeah. I mean, it almost begs the question. It's like, do you do, you know, almost every genre best this, you know, but then you keep it only to like a few nominations? It's because then you have a movie like Les Mis. That is a movie that is clearly a musical, but it's a dramatic musical. So when it won, I think, Best Musical, it's just weird that, you know, theoretically, and I don't think these came out the same year at all, but like, I mean, we'll just say in the same nominations, Les Mis is in the same field as Bridesmaids or Hangover or Deadpool.
Yes,
like, it just feels very odd.
Well, it's also like you look at like La La Land, right?
Sure.
So La La Land is it's funny, but it's not really a comedy. I would not call it a comedy. I mean, it's definitely a musical.
Sure.
But I mean, it's this year. It's the front runner, as far as I know. Still, it's the front runner to win Best Picture. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's an actual like threat to those other movies that were in the drama category.
Yeah, such as Moonlight or Manchester by the Sea. It happens.
I don't think you're going to see, the same comedies going against these dramas that are actual contenders sometimes, except when like Les Mis or La La Land or whatever. So it all gets very confusing. But the other thing is, how many musicals are there per year?
Not a lot. Which is why I think like when they come around, they kind of, in order to be recognized, they have to be, or even produced, they have to be really good. And I mean, I think the only one other musical I could think of is I remember hearing about the movie Sing Street came out, which I heard good things, but...
Sing Street was amazing.
See, yeah, I heard good things.
Go watch Sing Street. It's on Netflix. Like, if you're not doing anything right now, people listening, and Brandon, go watch Sing Street. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, but... Besides that and La La Land, can you think of any other musicals that came out this year?
No, I don't. But see, the other thing is like, Sing Street's not really a musical. When I think of a musical, I think of singing and dancing and stuff. It's just a movie that happens to feature people singing a lot of music.
So, Oscars, I believe in the next, I think it's not next week, but the week after.
It's a week from, okay, it's a week from today then.
Is when the nominations,
the 24th.
Yeah.
The 24th is what I believe.
Yeah. So it seems like it's a pretty clear cut through all the other, PGA, WGA, DGA, SAGs, that like the films that are going to be up there are films like Moonlight, La La Land, Manchester by the Sea, Fences for performance has been up there.
Hidden Fences, of course. Did you see that whole controversy? Or a couple people they got Hidden Figures and Fences confused and called them Hidden Fences.
Oh God.
Yeah, it was really awkward.
So it seems like it's pretty much going to be down to those for Best Picture. But is there any other films that you think, maybe aren't getting recognition that you believe should, that you saw this year?
No, the one I was really worried about not getting any recognition was Hell or High Water, and it has gotten a fair amount of recognition, and I think it'll actually get a Best Picture nomination. Yeah,
that is a film that I also recently saw within the last week or two. I think that was a really great film. It really only had like one flaw for me, and it was such a tiny flaw that like it compared to some films that have so many, I was just like, that's forgivable. It's a film I definitely still want to buy on DVD after I rented it, and Jeff Bridges and Chris Pine have kind of been getting recognition, and the writer, Taylor Sheridan. And I believe it has a cinematographer you like too, doesn't it?
I don't know. I have to look that up.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was the same cinematographer that did the Denis Villeneuve films, like Arrival. Oh, Arrival. That's a film.
Yeah, that's one that's like it just got lost somewhere in it. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie, but it somehow got way lost in everything, and I don't quite know what happened.
Yeah, it's a film that has great performance. I think it has great writing, great direction, great cinematography. To me, it was a sci-fi film that wasn't your typical. Like, a lot of sci-fi films tend to be like action related nowadays, but I like how it's very grounded and very close to what I think how people would react when these ships start showing up, like in the film. Like it's very like close to home, and I thought it was a great movie that I'm definitely going to buy someday. It is something worth revisiting, and like you said,
Yeah.
it's so odd how a film that's so good is kind of shoved aside.
Well, I think this is when I can kind of go into my soapbox thing here about why I don't like the Oscars.
All right,
for the
let's
most
hear
part. It is all politics.
Like with
It
everything,
all comes down to politics. Because what they do is they go out and they send screeners to people, which, is fine, and they campaign and they do everything they can. And so you have studios or whatever that have less money or movies that they don't want to promote as much. They kind of get lost.
Sure.
Indie films that came out at different times. And every once in a while you have an exception to the rules. You have your Mad Maxes and your stuff. Or like last year when Mark Rylance, I think is his name, won Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah.
Despite not going to any of the luncheons or anything like that.
Sure.
But like, I mean, you had Leo out there going around and he's, giving people private screenings, I think, in the Arctic of The Revenant. He's doing everything he can. I mean, he's basically being a politician on his final, thing before the election. And so I guess that's what's a little frustrating is that it doesn't feel like the merit's given to the best as much as it is the most noticed.
Sure. And I can agree with that. I mean, it feels very... And we can get into also just... the reason I am not a huge fan of the Oscars, especially the last handful of years, is they definitely have a type of film that they like to give recognition to. Now, I understand that, like a movie like, for example, last year, Room with Brie Larson. I thought that was a great movie. The fantastic performances, both from Brie Larson and I can't think of the child actor.
Jacob Tremblay.
Yeah, Jacob Tremblay.
I never even saw the movie. That's how bad that is.
It is so good. It was one of my favorite last year. Once I saw it a little bit later, but it was so good. But you could tell it was just such a small movie, but that's what made it focused on the direction and the acting and the writing, and it just... I feel like it was a film that, like you said, it probably just didn't have as much money because it was made by the studio A24. They've been doing a lot of great movies lately. They do a lot of original content, like The Lobster. Coming up this year in 2017, they had that movie Free Fire. They had Swiss Army Man, and just so many that I can't think of at the moment. But they pump out independent, super original, great films. And I feel like that's something that, like you said, last year everyone was talking about The Revenant and Spotlight, and that was pretty much it. It was like
no one talked about Spotlight. No one talked about Spotlight at all until it won Best Picture.
Well, I mean,
Spotlight was like this weird thing that was just in the middle of nowhere.
I mean, in the sense that once it was nominated, everyone was like, oh, it's going to be Spotlight or Revenant, or it's always down to one or two, when I feel like there should be more films kind of considered. And I mean, even we were just talking about the director Denis, I'm hoping I'm saying his name right, Denis Villeneuve. His film before Sicario got some recognition with Emily Blunt and Benicio del Toro, but his film before that, Prisoners, I thought was really great. And
Prisoner was great, but the subject matter.
Yeah, it got
The subject matter was not awards friendly.
yeah, it got zero recognition besides I think cinematography, and it was just like
Well, that was because it was Roger Deakins. He's just automatically gonna get nominated. Like he I don't think he's even there half the time.
yeah, and it just because he's probably working on another movie. He's always on.
Yeah,
But it felt like a movie. It's like, wait, Oscars, this is a movie you like. It's a drama. It has great performances. It has A-list actors. But like you said, it was kind of more. I wouldn't say horror, but it was very dark and disturbing.
they don't like anything like that. If it doesn't have a super happy ending, and it doesn't have or some thought provoking message that they can all get behind, they're not gonna like it.
Yeah, it tends to
For the most part. Now you'll see movies sometimes that'll come out that'll be like nominated, but they have no chance.
Yeah. Like Mad Max was a big surprise for me, or a couple years ago with Gravity, or like these films that
Mad Max was a good surprise.
Yeah, but it was like there are films that like they randomly decide, oh, that's one we usually don't nominate. We'll give them a little recognition. But for
that's because Mad Max went crazy with their campaign.
But like it seems like for the most
It won
part,
6 Oscars.
yeah, for the most part, the Academy loves to award movies that are period pieces, biographical films, historical dramas. Like they're just, it's like kind of like the same few options.
Yes.
And that was one thing that just really bugs me is like and that's where the term Oscar bait has been kind of thrown out there more. I feel like if someone has an idea for like Spotlight, that is a very important subject, and had great performances and great writing, and it was a great film, but it felt like a film that it's like it did everything it was supposed to get Oscar noted by having A-list cast. It was a drama, and it was based on a true story.
I disagree on Spotlight, but some of them I agree.
Like I'm not saying
Spotlight had all those things it checked, but it never felt like Oscar bait to me.
Well, I don't always think that Oscar bait is a bad thing, and I'm not saying that Spotlight is an example that shouldn't be nominated, but it's kind of like if you know that you're hitting a few of those check marks and the film is good enough, it's going to get recognized for that. Whereas I feel like if you're a comedy or you're a superhero film, or even like honestly, like it's because horror films haven't been as great lately. Like back in the day, we had films like Silence of the Lambs or Exorcist get nominations, but like now it just feels so far from any of those genres or like sci-fi getting recognized at all.
Yeah, I mean, sci-fi is one that's continuously ignored. Superhero movies, I don't know. I mean, there hasn't been one besides like The Dark Knight that deserved any sort of recognition like that. I mean, there have been good ones, but there's been nothing that's like profound.
Sure. But I guess one thing is, like, I mean, I guess it's almost debating like what deserves best. Is it a movie that's incredibly rewatchable, or is it a film that is just like so good that it's something that you're like, all right, I saw it once and that was just great and cool. Does that make sense at all?
I saw Manchester by the Sea last week, 2 weeks ago. Great movie. Casey Affleck's going to win Best Actor. For sure. Really well written. Not the easiest movie to watch.
Yes.
Or a better example, 12 Years a Slave. Do you see 12 Years a Slave?
I did not, but I understand what you're getting at, because that's how I felt with The Room. That's a very great movie, but it was very
That's why I haven't watched it.
It's very, like... I wanted to buy it because I wanted to contribute to like the filmmakers and like the
studio. I own it. I just have not watched it. It is sitting there on my like stack of DVDs with like Green Room and The Lobster and Everybody Wants Some and all these other movies that I won't get to.
Yeah, it's just I understand what you're saying. Like, when it's so unnerving, it's kind of hard to watch it again.
Yeah, and it was 12 Years a Slave was really good. It was really, really well done. But it was, like, really hard to watch. It's like, I don't spend my weekends going, you know what, we should watch, go on a date. Like, let's watch some Schindler's List. You seen Schindler's List? Oh, it's great. That's not what you do. Schindler's List is a phenomenal movie. But it's not something I'm like, yeah, let's watch again.
Yeah. But go on.
But I guess that, you think of these movies like this, they stick with you, though.
Sure.
Where I've already forgotten what the plot of Civil War was. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it was fun. I had a great time watching it, whereas I didn't really have a great time watching 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that, and that's why, like, I agree that there's really only, like, one, maybe two superhero films that ever felt like they deserved any sort of recognition. And I guess I don't only mean Best Picture. I guess I look at, like, there are
if you look at technical awards, then absolutely.
Well, not even just technical, but I mean performance-wise. Like Heath Ledger was one of the only superhero performances to ever get noticed. But then you have films like Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder got Best Supporting Actor, which was
that was one that, like, completely changed stuff. Like, that was weird.
Or, Johnny Depp for Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, I'm not angry. Like, those are great performances, but it's like, it almost like it was like a year that, like, they actually decided to try different options. And that's something I wish they would try more often, which is, like, for example, you said Casey Affleck pretty much deserves Best Actor. There are people that say Denzel Washington. There are people that say, I believe, one of the actors from Moonlight, and all these people. But then, like, you'll never see, like, a Ryan Reynolds for Deadpool be nominated for an Oscar.
Well, he doesn't deserve it. He was just Ryan Reynolds. He didn't put, like,
That's just an example. Like I said, not saying that he does, and I'll stop bringing up Deadpool. But
yeah.
But, like, for example, I feel like besides, like Heath Ledger, it's hard to ever picture them giving recognition to a superhero performance or a comedic performance or, something like, did you see John Goodman from 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is kind of horror thriller? Did you see him getting nominated?
It's sci-fi, and they're not gonna do anything, which he deserves a nomination.
See,
he was absolutely phenomenal in that movie, and that was a great movie. But not Best Picture worthy, but it was a great movie. But yeah, his performance in that was absolutely terrifying. I can't watch Monsters Inc. anymore. It's just over. And God, I mean, Roseanne was on the other night. Oh, I just had to turn off the TV.
Yeah, and I guess that's what I'm trying to get at with, and not just superhero movies, but with comedies, sci-fi, horror, thriller. Like, it's hard for these movies to ever get, besides, technical or editing, maybe an occasional screenplay or something. Like, it's hard for any, like Bridesmaids with screenplay. That was one that was shocking. And, like, Melissa McCarthy was supporting actress.
They have to rise above just being a good movie. Like, The Nice Guys is a good movie. It's not a great movie. You have to really, really be a great movie. Well, I mean, we can agree to disagree. But I liked it. I liked it. But you have to be I mean, think of, like, Mad Max Fury Road.
Sure.
I mean, that was something you went to go see, and it was completely different than most action movies you go to see.
Sure, yeah.
So you have to rise above and be an absolutely great movie in that genre to get any sort of recognition, like Arrival or like Hell or High Water, which is a Western.
Yeah, I'd say it's Western. It has a Western feel.
It's a modern Western. It's definitely a Western. It's got the bank robbers and the law and all of that. And that's not something you see get nominated a whole lot.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, Jeff Bridges is in it. Then that helps.
That's the secret. Just get Jeff Bridges in it.
Just get Jeff Bridges.
But, yeah, I understand what you're saying is that they need to rise above for that genre. But I guess that's something that I'm getting at is that because they tend to typically go towards just pure dramas or historical or based on true stories or biographical films, that it feels like, 80% of the nominations are going to be those, maybe even 90, and then, one
They're
or
all
two,
slow-moving dramas.
one or two things will randomly get, will slip through the cracks, like District 9 or...
with about that.
with animated films like Up or Toy Story 3, like they slip through the cracks, but it's so like far and in between. It kind of seems like someone's like standing with a whiteboard and like, all right, we got 9 nominations. Let's give 7 to dramas, and we'll give 1 or 2 to something else that have no chance of winning.
Yeah,
and and then we'll stick to those handful of dramas to give all the acting awards to all the direction, and you'll never see like with Inception. Sure, that was given best cinematography, but it was like it felt like there was zero chance they were going to give that best picture or best direction or screenplay, anything like that.
I don't think it was nominated for direction.
That's what I'm saying.
Was
is
it?
like if it
got best picture, it was nominated for best picture.
And I don't think it was nominated for director, but that's kind of what I'm getting at, and that's why whereas like you don't like the politics in it, and like that's something I don't like, is that these films that just because they're in a different genre, I don't feel like that should exclude them from contention in the major categories. As you and I kind of being in the film, wanting to be in the entertainment industry, like we care more about, screenplay or direction or cinematography or even some of the technical awards. Whereas like I'm thinking about like general audience America. When they watch these, they look at best picture and like the acting categories. And I feel like those are...
I mean, you're always going to see best picture something very safe.
Yeah, like you'll never hear from like, unless your parents are in the industry too, you never hear from like a family member who's just a general, audience person go like, I want to see Arrival because I heard it got best cinematography. Like, it's...
Yeah, no, they're not going to care.
They only care about, like, they may see, like, hey, I've been seeing everyone talking about Viola Davis and Denzel Washington in Fences. Maybe I'll go check out Fences. And... that's where I feel like it's not as fair, is because it's like, oh, you're just going to give it to these same few movies for everything when all these other films deserve more recognition.
Yeah.
I mean, do you agree on the aspect of like general audiences tend to care about best picture and then the acting?
That is very true. That's what they care about, and that's why they're going to go safe choices, and they're not going to do anything controversial. Brokeback Mountain, and well, I mean, do you remember that year? So Brokeback Mountain, which was easily the best movie of that year, I want to say it was 2005 or something like that.
Yep,
easily the best movie, right? Did not win, and it went to Crash.
Which I haven't seen Brokeback Mountain, but I've only heard good things. Whereas like Crash, I've avidly seen Crash, and it was like, I think that's a movie I think it gets more shit than it deserves. Like I'm not saying it's the best picture that year, but like some people are saying it's like absolute garbage. Like, and I think it's just because they're bitter about what happened at Brokeback Mountain, which, I want to see.
I mean, you look at Brokeback Mountain, it won the BAFTA, it won the Golden Globe, it won the Movie of the Year at the AFI, it won, PGA or something, I think. Yeah, I lost respect for the Oscars when Sandra Bullock won.
Yeah, that too.
White People Feel Guilty, the movie. I'm sorry, The Blind Side. I always get those two confused. I will make it very known on your podcast, I have a deep hatred for Sandra Bullock.
I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, I saw enough of The Blind Side to see, like, it's like, oh, yeah.
It wasn't good. It was a cash grab movie with,
It was average.
She put on it was average. She put on like an accent, and then she got nominated. And let's be honest, the Best Actress category is always a joke anyway, because they treat the women so poorly that they just choose the ones that are pretty, that they can be there, and then Meryl Streep.
Yeah, it's...
and there's so many good performances that are out there from very, very talented women, and we don't see them get the recognition they deserve. I guess the last thing I'd like to talk about is that you have a lot of movies that get nominated for technical awards, such as like Transformers, or some not so great movies.
I believe one year, like Best Makeup, it was something like Norbit or something ridiculous like.
Yes, and it's easy to make fun of. It's like, well, I got nominated for an Oscar, and the thing is like those people work very hard at what they do.
Yes.
And so, yes, Transformers, which one of... I think one of them, I can't remember which one it was, but Transformers got nominated for Best, like, Visual Effects or Sound Mixing or something.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the sound is really good in that movie. The story makes no sense. The directing's terrible, but the sound was good.
Yeah. Which is, like you said, it's a big shame that it's, you see films that... Sure, on the surface, when it comes to the story or the direction or the overall film, we're not as good like the Transformers, or like many people feel with, some superhero movies lately. But like you said, the people behind the scenes that were doing the effects or the makeup or the production design or whatever it was, like, they did work very hard. And it does make sense for them to get recognition, but it just... Sometimes I can understand it feels like a little weird that, like, I believe right now, and I don't think these are the official nominations, but like short list for Best Makeup, it's like Hail Caesar, Star Trek Beyond, The Dressmaker, Florence Foster Jenkins, Deadpool, and Suicide Squad. Like, it just it feels like such a wide range.
But I mean, that's what you got to look at,
Yeah.
I mean, because some of those had... When we talked about Suicide Squad in Film Tweakers, we never complained about the makeup
Exactly.
being a terrible thing.
Yeah. It's kind of sad that, like, you'll see, like, for example, Best Short Film, Best Animated Short Film, Best Documentary, Best Foreign Film, and, like, to a lot of the general audience people, it's like they don't really care. And
No, and they won't, and it's sad. Actually, I met someone who was nominated for the Best Short Film Live Action Oscar.
Uh-huh.
And didn't change your life.
Do you have predictions? Are you saying La La Land for the Best Picture this year?
I'm saying La La Land, yeah. I'm gonna say La La Land, but then again, I was on Camp Boyhood, and that happened. I quickly phoned the police to inform them that there had been a robbery on stage, and that Richard Linklater, his Oscar had been stolen from him.
Really? See, I'm on the opposite side, that I saw Boyhood, and to me, it was just a gimmick. The gimmick was he took 12 years to make this movie. That's a fantastic achievement, that he found actors who are willing to come and do that every year, every few years over a 12-year period. But then I hear about a film like Moonlight, and I hear about how the film is divided into 3 segments about this character when he's a child, when he's kind of a teenager, and then when he's a man. And they use different actors, but the story apparently was just so good and the direction was so good that, like, that sounds like a movie that's more appealing to me, whereas, like, Boyhood, sure, that's a great technical achievement, but to me it felt very... Patricia Arquette got nominated for this, and...
She won.
Yeah, like, and it just felt very also... What's the story? Oh, it's just life? that's not
It was
intriguing.
It was a series of vignettes. It was a little bit different. Just because it didn't fit into your 3-act structure, man.
No, it had nothing to do with 3-act structure, but it was one of the most overrated movies for me because it just felt very... If I wanted to just see life, I would just live it. I want to see... I want to see a movie, and, like the only part where I thought it was actually going somewhere was... And every time it would go somewhere, they would cut to, like, a year later, was she...
Well, see, that's the thing. It's like...
Patricia Arquette, that she's divorced from Ethan Hawke, and then she meets this rich guy who's older, and he has kids that are her kids' age, and the kids get along. He gets drunk. What's that?
I only saw the movie one time.
Yeah, no, I did too, and I'll never see it again. It just he gets drunk and he's kind of driving, and it just that was intense because it's like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? Is it gonna be an accident? What's gonna happen? And then all of a sudden, she's just like, I'm leaving. A year later, she's gone, and it's just like, oh, all right, and then nothing happens, and then he just kind of becomes this weird hippie kid. Like, it just, I don't know. That's that film I could talk a whole podcast about because it just felt like nothing happened. It felt like this weird, like, either be a documentary or don't, or be a narrative where there's like an actual, story. That's why this movie Moonlight intrigues me because
I want to see Moonlight.
Everyone is saying how it's so great how they've captured these 3 time periods, and because it's probably like when important things happen. Whereas in Boyhood, there was a lot of just looking at the sky. Boyhood, overrated to me. Do you have...
Well, we'll agree to disagree.
This is what I'll ask you then. Is there... If you could pick one in just the last few years, like an Oscar film that you felt you saw it and it was just super overrated to you.
The Artist. I don't even need you to finish the question. The Artist.
Okay, let's hear about that. I haven't seen that film, but I have a feeling I would agree. But go on, let's hear it.
Everything you just said about Boyhood, to me, I don't remember a whole lot about it. I saw it like 4 or 5 years ago now. It was just like super, super bland. I mean, it was a silent film for the sakes of being a silent film. There was nothing in it that led me to believe that it was going to be anything great other than a gimmick. There was one part where I remember the phone rang or something, or they had sound for a second, and I thought the movie was going to go somewhere interesting where they were going to slowly develop sound. Pleasantville style or something. But instead, it just kept being silent until the very end. And it just made no sense. And I didn't understand why it was there, why it needed to be silent, why it was so stupid. And it was super overrated.
Anyway, we will transition into our last segment of the podcast, the I Hate People. Josh, do you have yourself an I Hate People?
I always hate people. Do I need a specific example?
I mean, yeah. So I mean, I could. Do you want me to do mine first?
Yeah, go do yours first.
Okay. So, good news. The last week or so in 2016, I mentioned here on the podcast is I started a new job. It's a job at a new bank, and it's way better than my other one. But one thing I was discussing with one of my coworkers, because I'm one of the younger employees at the bank. I am going to be 25 this year, and a lot of the customers are older, and a lot of the coworkers are older. And one thing I hate with people that I've worked with is I hate people our age that perpetuate the arrogant and dumb millennial stereotypes. And it happens a lot. I have worked with people that they're just they're on their phones when they shouldn't be, and they don't realize certain, they shouldn't swear at work, and they are very they act like they know it all when they really don't, and they are disrespectful. And why I hate this is because then all old people think you millennials with your participation trophies you got growing up, you don't know what life is, and they just...
Well, they gave us the participation trophies.
Exactly. Like, these old people, like, they raised us, yet they're upset on how we were raised, and I don't know. I hate people our age who further that stereotype, because I had someone who, she screamed at one of our managers. It was something out of a reality TV show, I'm telling you, Josh. Like, it was over something so stupid. I thought, like, cameras were going to come in and say, like, you know, like, but how do you really feel about this? And blah, 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 blah. Like, she was screaming at him over the dumbest thing. And I'm just thinking to myself, where did she learn this? Like, if I yelled at a manager, like, what's that?
Entitlement.
Yeah, the millennial entitlement. And she just had no respect. And it just made... It set, like, I feel like it set everyone our age back. Like, even though we're in our mid to late 20s, like, we're seen as, like, these dumb kids. And it's like, no, we're not all like that. We can be mature, and we can be respectful, and we can know our place. But when you think that we're all like that, that's what I hate. So that is my I hate people of the week.
Yes.
Josh, do you have perhaps a coworker or someone in traffic or any sort of specific I hate people that recently happened to you?
Yes. Donald Trump's being inaugurated on Friday. I hate people.
I believe that's what mine was, like, right after the election, was just like...
I think mine was something similar to that, too.
Yeah, it just...
That's going to be my I hate people. I like to give more of a general I hate people than a specific example.
Yeah, like... And I think and this is so stupid. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of terrible things that probably happen when he is in office, and we won't get too political. But one thing that really upset me is, and you know this, I had a sketch that I wrote, and Jerry did the voice for. We were doing an animated sketch about Trump's inauguration day and how he just started, basically the sketch, he says... What the fuck is wrong with you people? I have no experience in office. I said absurd, offensive things, and you gave me, you know, like, nuclear launch codes? Like, and basically the sketch is, it turns out that Trump takes off a mask, and it's...
Andy Kaufman, right?
It's Andy Kaufman, and also Ashton Kutcher runs in and says that the entire election was one big episode of Punk'd. And... And, like...
If only, right? But see, now it's not funny. It's just sad.
Exactly. And you said it the other day, and it really, really hit me, because I was hoping that me and Jerry could release that in the next week or two with the inauguration. But then you said it, and another friend said it too. It was like, it's not funny anymore. And I'm like...
No, the joke's gone. The joke's gone.
Yeah.
You missed your window on that one.
Because it really happened. Like, because I thought it was clear cut that there's no way he could win, whether it was
I
Bernie
warned you.
or
I
Hillary.
told you. I said he's going to win. I didn't want him to, but I said he's going to, because people...
So, yeah, as we like to do with at the end of every I hate people when I try to remember, is Josh will take a nice breathe in and a nice breathe out. Fuck people.
Fuck them.
Yeah. Feels good. Feels good. So, Josh, it was great having you on the podcast again.
Always a
for
pleasure.
Your third appearance. You're soon going to be becoming the most appeared guest on the show.
I don't know if that's like a good thing or...
Well, everyone else I was going to have bailed, and I was like, I guess I'll talk to Josh.
I'm the most available. I got a participation trophy in high school for being there. So, you know.
Thanks for coming on again, Josh. Is there anything you would like to plug before you go?
Not really. I'll have some stuff soon.
Nope.
No, I don't really have anything coming up that's that I could plug or that's in anytime soon.
Do you want to just say your Twitter then?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at JScottSibley. I tweet sometimes, trying to get better at it. Sometimes I say meaningful things.
You can also follow me on Twitter at TheProze, Proze. Please rate, review, subscribe on this podcast. There's plenty of other episodes where me and Josh and whoever else is on the podcast talk about things in entertainment such as movie, TV, comedy, theater, web work, whatever it is. I'm sure you will enjoy some of it. Please check us out on, if you're an Apple hater and don't have an iTunes, we're also on Podbean, Stitcher, Blueberry, Google Play. Try to make this podcast available as many places as possible for you guys. If there's more free spaces, let me know. I'll try to put it on there. Please also check out Entertainment Buffet. We also have sketches, web shows coming for you guys. I'm in the talks with a bunch of talented comedic voices to get some more talk shows up, get some vlogs, get some other web shows up there for some new people that aren't me or Jerry or other people that are usually doing stuff with Entertainment Buffet to get their voice out there. So please check that out as well. You can find that on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or entertainmentbuffet.com. Please also check out the podcast Movie Trailer Trash, done by my friends Charlie and Bethany Duber. They also post their episodes on our Entertainment Buffet YouTube if you can't check them out on iTunes. All right, Josh, thanks for coming on, talking about awards season, and we'll see who wins Best Picture. Thanks for listening to episode 24 of the podcast, coming up on 1 year old, guys.
See you after the Oscars.